Hey, it's your professional sarcastic man in Secret of Attention, Chris here with reviews on DC Year of the Villain, Deceased, and Savage Avengers #1. So starting off with the shortest of the three, Year of the Villain. This is a sampler of some of their upcoming biggest events and stories coming out in DC. So you have something that's going on with the Batman Who Laughs, the Legion of Doom, plus the Dark Secret of Leviathan. So DC Year of the Villain, the most dangerous summer event starts here. The first story is Doom by Scott Snyder, and the art by Jim Chung, and the coloring by Temu Mori. So, so this is Lex's part of Year of the Villain. He's invaded the White House in order to bring Waller to him, has Brainiac extract information from her, and he's setting up Doom, the Doom portion of what will be the Justice Doom War, and also the Offer. If you've seen July Solicits, Lex will be visiting almost every title DC Comics is publishing, offering the villains something to help them defeat the heroes. So this is how it all begins. Before Lex decides to sacrifice himself. And part 2, chapter 2 is Leviathan by Brian Michael Bendis, art and coloring by Alex Maleev. So Green Arrow and Batgirl are chasing down Merlin, who is on the run from Leviathan. Leviathan is just taken out the League of Assassins and is coming for everyone else. And Batgirl is kidnapped and is offered a position to help change the world with Leviathan. And that was it, pretty much. And chapter 3 is Justice by James Tynion and art and coloring by Francis Manapul. And this is the Justice side of the upcoming Justice Doom War. The Justice League is trying to rescue as many civilizations and planets from the remainder of what the Source Wall, after the destruction of the Source Wall, the white void that is consuming everything. They're trying to save as many as they can, but I also have to deal with the fact of there's still Perpetua, there's still the Legion of Doom. They have their side, what they're planning. They don't know what is going to happen there, but they need to get ready as well. And as Batman says, simply, we call everyone, and then we go to war. So bringing every one of the heroes they know to help in this upcoming war. So that was it. It was just those 3 stories. So the first one, Doom, by chapter 1 by Scott Snyder. Story, 4 out of 5. Nice little just setup for what Lex is going to be doing in July, and at least the well, actually mainly just for what Lex is going to do. He's offering villains something to help them against the heroes, probably to get them on his side when Justice Doom happens. So, good story. Yep, 4 out of 5. The art by Jim Chung and the coloring by Temu Mori. 5 out of 5. The art on this and the coloring is really, really good. Stellar and great art on this. So, chapter 2, Leviathan by Bendis. 3.5 out of 5. It felt crammed in and a bit quick. I don't like how quippy and how funny Batgirl and Green Arrow are trying to be with their dialogue. It's just like, oh, that's okay, Marilyn. I've been wrong before. I think this is what brought me to Seattle, because I really thought we were sneaking up on you. He did, and then later on when Batgirl is talking to, seems to be a representative from Leviathan, and he says to her, well, we don't have each other's trust yet, but my offer is this. Complete and total do-over. Do-over what? The world, your life, your place in it? What? Like a makeover? Bendis, stop. You are not good with humor in any way. Don't. It seems too much for Batgirl and Green Arrow. I'm not a fan of it, so wasn't a fan of the story. It feels out of place. I'll talk about that a little bit after I talk about chapter 3, but the art and coloring by Maleev, 4 out of 5. I'm not really a big fan of Maleev on a lot of his art, a lot of his art style and his coloring, but here it was actually really good. I really dig the art style in this. But this is for Event Leviathan, what Brian Michael Bendis is going to be doing with Action Comics and just the main event itself called Event Leviathan, or just call it Leviathan. Event Leviathan is a stupid sounding name. You know, Leviathan, simple. We know it's an event. You don't have to put it in the title. But I don't know. It's just... I'm not interested in it. I'm not picking up Event Leviathan anyway, so... So on and chapter 3, Justice, by James Tinney IV, and 4 out of 5 for the story on that. I really enjoyed the justice side of the justice aspect of this, and the art and coloring by Francis Manapul, really, really good. He definitely brought his A game here, especially with this. This is probably my favorite page from Year of the Villain. A really, really good double page spread of just all of these heroes, just all of Batman's potential recruits for the League to help them in the upcoming Justice Doom War. So overall, I liked this sampling of what we're getting in later in the year, but to be fair, these two are out of place. Could seem like with Bane on the cover, they're going to talk about, there was going to be something about what King is doing with City of Bane and Batman, a culmination of what Bane has been doing in the Batman series, but he's only there for like one page, and that's it. It's like, okay, sure, really had nothing to do there. And then same with the Batman Who Laughs. The Batman Who Laughs appears at the end, and he's just referred to as one of the players that Perpetua doesn't know about, so implying that he has his own agenda as well. But they really did have particularly anything to do, but I think the Batman Who Laughs one is only here because he's going to be in the upcoming Batman Superman series, so probably that's why. And with Leviathan, the Leviathan chapter, it feels so out of place because the main two ones are connected to one another, the Doom chapter and the Justice chapter, because that's all leading up to what Snyder has been building up to, Justice Doom War. So the Event Leviathan chapter, it feels so out of place. I don't see why it should be there, considering it's already getting a one-shot to set up everything, Superman Leviathan Rising #1, which is $10 DC. That is too much. That is too much. But with here, it seems so out of place. You honestly could have just taken this out and just kept it as with the Justice and the Doom chapters, because really that's what Year of the Villain is actually mainly setting up. What Snyder and any of the Justice League writers, etc., are doing. So could have just taken it out, but I enjoyed this little sample for what it was. So on to Deceased, aka DC's versions of Marvel Zombies, written by Tom Taylor, art by Trevor Hairsine and Stefano Gudini, who did pages 1 to 6 and 15 to 26, and James Harvey, who did 7 to 14, and the coloring by Rain Barreto. And I got the variant cover, which was by Yasmin Putri. So basically, the Justice League defeats Darkseid, and they allow him to leave, but he says he's already got what he came for, that being Cyborg. So Cyborg's been captured by Darkseid. He's on Apocalypse because, as Darkseid reveals, he has the second half of the anti-life equation inside of him, the digital half, while Darkseid has the physical half, and he wants to reunite both halves together, but Darkseid thinks it might be a bad idea trying to merge the digital and the physical without destroying the host. As he says, merging the anti-life equation with the digital and the physical without destroying the host is unsound. If he is killed by the process, the equation will cease to exist. But Darkseid is able to get it, but it's corrupted and twisted and becomes a techno-organic virus. Darkseid becomes the first one to be infected. Cyborg is patient zero. He's the one that accidentally spreads it, and when he returns to Earth to Metropolis, the virus goes into the internet and begins infecting everyone else. So that is how this all of DC starts. So story by Tom Taylor, 4 out of 5. I'm actually surprised. Like, I would have assumed just from the get-go it would have been, okay, the world was already ravaged. They're just trying to find out how this all started and maybe to find a cure or how to survive. But no, in like the first half of this series, we're already shown how this all starts. You know, Darkseid tries to complete the anti-life equation. It gets corrupted and becomes a techno-organic virus that turns everyone into like kind of zombies, more like just mindless, pretty much mindless beasts. But yeah, I was actually really surprised. I went into the series with really no expectations at all, or no hopes, but I'm surprised they're able to get that main plot point done so quick and so early, literally in the first issue. So we already know how this all starts. So the remainder of the series is probably going to be how to survive or how to contain it or how to cure it, if there is even a cure to it, which I'm guessing is probably going to be the life equation, since that's the opposite of the anti-life equation. So, but we'll see how it goes. I really found this story good and interesting, so I'm going to continue with that. The art by Hessign and Gordino for their pages, and the coloring by Rain Barato on those. 4.5 out of 5. There's some parts where, like, Superman's face, for some reason, he's squinting. It looks like he's squinting. He looks slightly older. There's, sometimes the faces, not all of them, but sometimes the faces are off. But overall, the art and the coloring by those two and Barreto was really, really good. I really like the art and coloring on this. Top-notch art and coloring. And the art by Harron and Barreto on pages 7 to 14. 4 out of 5. I wish they could just kept it with the one art style. It's still the same colorist, but it's a different artist for the Apocalypse parts. I don't know why. They should have just kept it with the other two, but it's not bad art. I prefer the other one, but because the coloring works so much better with the other artist, instead of this one. But it's good art regardless. So, and the cover, 4 out of 5. Even though it really kind of doesn't have nothing to do with the book, I like these horror variants based on like horror films. So obviously, this is an homage to It. You'll Die Too, Deceased. So by Yasmin Putri does. I think she's doing all of the horror variants. I'll have to double check, but the horror variants are the ones I'm going to be getting because I think they're much more appealing. The standard covers by Greg Capullo aren't that bad either, but the variants catch my eyes instead. Sorry, Greg. But this was actually, in my opinion, a good start to this miniseries. You got the whole of like the main plot shown and explained over and kind of slightly over and done with, but we're just seeing what the aftermath is pretty much. So on to Savage Avengers, written by Jerry Dugan, art by Mike Deodato Jr., coloring by Frank Martin, and the cover by David Finch and Frank D'Amata. So Chapter 1, Once Upon a Time in the City of Sickles, the Conan the Barbarian joined a band of Avengers on a dire mission to restore the light to their universe. So that was the Avengers No Road Home, like 10-issue series, I think it was. Their victory came at the cost for the Cimmerian. In the final battle, he was cast away by their enemy, but instead of landing back in the Hyborian Age, he found himself on present-day Earth in the Savage Land. So this was kind of my worry with Savage Adventures. You would have to read No Road Home to read this. Not really. Just in the summary alone, just explains how Conan is here. Doesn't really talk about the plot. It just explains, here's how Conan is in the Marvel Universe he's trapped in the Savage Lands. That's it. So good. It's so off to a good start. Doesn't have to rely on having to read a previous series to understand this. So in the Savage Land, somebody is sacrificing various people, as he says, the finest of mankind, the best artists, thinkers, and most importantly, warriors. He's sacrificing them to summon Jiao Lu, a god, from his icy domain. So he's with the help from the hand, he's gathering all these people as blood sacrifices. He needs their blood in order to start the ritual to summon Jiao Lao. So it cuts to Conan fighting off various members of the hand, a possible sacrifice given that he is a warrior, and he meets Wolverine. The two get into a fight. Conan thinks he's someone called Crom, and they briefly fight, but because Wolverine can't die, the fight pretty much ends in a stalemate. They come to an understanding. They explain their situation to one another, and they go off then their separate ways. Brother Voodoo, he's also investigating what's going on with the hand. He gets captured as well, and this all leads back. Conan finds what he's looking for, and an amulet that he's looking for, and the Venom symbiote is above whoever possesses this amulet, and Brother Voodoo is taken to be one of the sacrifices, which is why Wolverine is there. He's there to help him, and I'll leave it there. So the story, 4 out of 5. Much like with Deceased, I went in with no expectations. I just wanted to at least try the number 1, let everyone know what it was like, and I actually enjoyed it. I really did. I really enjoyed this. I still think them being called Savage Avengers is stupid, because I don't see the Avengers part in this, but maybe it should have just been called Savages or something like that. But you got to get a recognizable name on there somehow. So Avengers have been very popular, particularly with the MCU, so you can see why they stuck the name Savage Avengers there. But from the get-go, first issue, we already know what the main plot is. Very much like with Deceased, with the first issue, we know what the main plot is. Someone, with the help of the hand, is sacrificing people, the best thinkers, artists, warriors, etc., in order to summon a god. Their reasons for doing this, I don't believe they were actually given. I'm just going to double check. No, not particularly. I'm guessing we'll learn a bit more about, but just the main plot overall, we get it within the first issue. Yep, someone summoning a god, and pretty much most of these people all come together to stop him. So Brother Voodoo was investigating him. He gets captured. Obviously, Wolverine was on his own mission that connects to Brother Voodoo. Venom is there, who Conan encounters. Conan is also in the Savage Land. Punisher gets brought in at the end of the issue because he's also a potential sacrifice. I think Elektra is the only one who doesn't appear in this. I'm going to double check. Maybe she was in the Brother Voodoo parts, but I don't remember her being in this. But yeah, Elektra is the only one who doesn't appear in this comic. Mainly Wolverine, Conan, and Brother Voodoo are the main characters. Punisher appears at the end. Venom appears in just one panel. Elektra is the only one that's not there. But overall, with the story in issue number 1, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I'm definitely going to pick up issue number 2. The art and coloring, the art by Deodato Jr. and the coloring by Martin, 4 out of 5. I like the art, I think, but the coloring by Martin, when it's not action, it's kind of grainy in a lot of parts. I think this is probably the best looking page with the art and coloring when Conan is fighting off the hand. Really, really good. But it was good overall. 4 out of 5 for the art. The cover by Finch and Diamata, 4 out of 5, despite the fact that only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just ignore the ignore that bike outside. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 of them appear in this book. Elektra is the only one that doesn't. But the art and coloring on the cover, really, really good. So that was it for Savage Avengers, Deceased number 1, and DC Year of the Villain. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.